All right. So before we get into this, I want to set expectations for y'all. All right. So this isn't just another crime story. This is just about a system, what it says it's supposed to do versus what it actually rewards. All right. So we're going to talk about rehabilitation. We're going to talk about incarceration, and we're going to ask a question that most people are too comfortable to sit with, right? So what happens when a system claims it wants to fix people but quietly benefits when they stay broken? I want you to think about that. And to understand that, we have to start with a man most people already know, which is John Wayne Gacy. Now, if you've already heard his name, you probably think of what he became known for, which is he's a serial killer at the end of the day, right? And he's a man who hid behind a clown persona, but just an overall monster. But what most people don't know or talk about is what happened before all of that. Before the murders, before the headlines, Gacy had already committed serious crimes. He was convicted for sexually assaulting a teenage boy, not accused, um, convicted as well. So let me ask you something. If someone commits a violent crime like that, what do you expect the system to do? Keep them locked up, right? Or rehabilitate them, fully before release is what you expect. Maybe I'm just throwing ideas out there. Um, or closely monitor, or closely monitor them so they don't hurt anyone else. Perhaps that would make sense, right? But that's not what happened. He was sentenced and then released early for good, quote unquote, good behavior. So let that sit for a second. So if a man who already shown predatory behavior was given another chance, and what happened after that? He went on to murder, I believe, at least 33 young men and boys. So now I want to ask you another question. Was the system trying to rehabilitate him, or did it fail to recognize the risk? And here's where it's going to get uncomfortable, because Gacy isn't just a story about one evil person. He's a window into something bigger, way bigger. A system that says it wants to fix people, but is structured in a way that doesn't always prioritize safety or true change. So let's break that down. So, what is the purpose of prison? If you ask most people, they'll say three things: punishment, deterrence, um, rehabilitation. But which one actually gets the most attention? I'll pause and let you think a little bit, maybe 3 seconds. All right. Because when you really look at it, rehabilitation often feels like an afterthought. So let me ask you this: if rehabilitation was truly the goal, why do so many people leave prison worse than when they went in? Why do so many come back? Why does this is so crazy. And just even thinking about it in general, because I'm trying to get it out, but I was inspired to do this video by watching a documentary about John Wayne Gacy, because it should have never even gone that far. After that first incident, he should have been locked away forever, or he should have never been given the opportunity to have a second life, and yet he did. But to get back on track, who benefits from that cycle continuing? Now, this is where people get uncomfortable, but stay with me. Stay with me, because the system doesn't just punish crime, it generates revenue from it. Prisons require some type of funding, beds need to be filled, facilities need to stay running. In some cases, especially with private prisons, there are actual financial incentives tied to occupancy rates, meaning meaning the more people incarcerated, the more money flows, if that makes sense. Now, think about that. If a system profits from people being inside, what motivation does it really have to reduce that number? Let me say that again. If a system profits from being, if a system profits from people being inside, what motivation does it really have to reduce that number? And I'm not saying that there is some secret meeting where people decide to keep crime high. It's not that simple. It's structural. It's built into policies, incentives, and priorities. For example, prison labor. You have inmates working for extremely low wages, sometimes cents per hour, producing goods, providing services, and you can do research on all of this. This isn't something that I'm making up. All right? Ask yourself this, is that rehabilitation or is that exploitation disguised as opportunity? Now let's go deeper. When someone gets out of prison, what happens next? Are are they given real tools to rebuild their life? Or or are they released with barriers stacked against them? Limited job opportunities, housing restrictions, social stigma. So let me ask you, if someone can't find work, can't find stability, and is constantly reminded of their past, what are the chances they succeed? And if they don't succeed, where do they end up? Back into the system. And that's the cycle. Incarcerate, release, restrict, reincarcerate. Now think back to Gacy. Could he have been stopped? Could stricter monitoring, better evaluation, or different priorities have prevented what happened? Maybe. But the system wasn't built to catch everything, and it definitely wasn't built perfectly. So here's the real question I want you to sit with. Can a system truly prioritize rehabilitation if it benefits from incarceration? Because those two goals don't align whatsoever. Rehabilitation reduces prison populations. Profit from incarceration depends on maintaining them. And when those two forces collide, which one do you think wins more often? This isn't about defending criminals, it's about understanding structure. Because if we don't understand how the system works, we can't question it, we can't improve it. And we definitely can't protect ourselves from its blind spots. So next time you hear the word rehabilitation, ask yourself, is it the mission or is it just the message? Because those two are different things. And the gap between them is where the real story lives. All right? So I want y'all to think about everything that we talked about in this video, and I want you to comment below on what you think about all of this. Let me know your intake on how you feel about this topic, right? Go ahead and drop your comments below. I'll try to respond to everybody as much as I can. You guys, I am only one person, but I will see you on the next video.